So Migrant Master's journey was not that easy. It did not begin in an office. It began in a betrayal and a loss of trust. Twice eligible, twice rejected, twice powerless. It can happen to me, such an educated person. What will happen to such innocent people who are actually aspirants? Silently they are being robbed for their future. मुझे सिर्फ अमीरों के लिए इमिग्रेशन इंडस्ट्री नहीं चलानी है, एक नॉर्मल मिडिल क्लास और लोअर मिडिल क्लास के लिए भी.
डॉक्टर स्वप्निल सर, एक इमिग्रेशन कंसल्टेंट लूप होल ढूंढता है या गवर्नमेंट का गेट कीपर होता है सिर्फ?
I would term myself as a translator. If Canada isn't viable for a person, why do you apply for it? The world doesn't end there.
जैसे अभी AI आ गया है, तो AI स्क्रीनिंग से क्या फ्यूचर में एल्गोरिदम ही इमिग्रेशन डिसीजन लेगा और वो बस क्लाइंट के लिए अच्छा है या रिस्की है? फिर गोल्डन वीजा और अर्न सेटलमेंट के चलते क्या इमिग्रेशन सिर्फ अमीरों की लग्जरी बन रहा है?
For millions of skilled people, talent alone is no longer enough. Money has become the gatekeeper.
अच्छा, आप सच बताओ सर कि आप कैसे वेरीफाई करते हो कि ऑफर्ड माइग्रेशन प्रोग्राम जेन्युइन है?
Clients are not guinea pigs. This is their life. Is their life for hard-earned money and not an experiment.
डॉक्टर स्वप्निल सर, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका द फाउंडर्स ड्रीम में. कैसे हैं सर आप?
Thank you very much. All good, great.
पहला सवाल, 2010 में माइग्रेंट मास्टर की जर्नी की शुरुआत कैसे हुई और 12,000 स्टूडेंट तक पहुंचने में कौन कौन से चैलेंजेस आए?
First of all, thank you, Abhishek, for inviting me on your podcast. So, Migrant Master's journey was not that easy. It did not begin in an office. It began in a betrayal and a loss of trust. 2010 में सबसे पहले मैं सीमेंस में जॉब कर रहा था. I was in London with a very good handsome salary and I was posted there. Like many other aspirants, I trusted a lot of big agencies and I trusted a very big immigration consultancy, a well-known brand in India, and applied for a Canadian PR as usual, but under an old point-based system, now which is called as Express Entry. On paper, I was perfect, an absolute strong profile with IELTS 8889. But because of wrong filing and careless handling by this agent, I lost my opportunity for Canada. And that was very, very disheartening. तभी ऐसा लग रहा था कि सब कुछ खत्म हो गया. And then I tried कि चलो अभी बड़े एजेंसी के पास जाते हैं. But again, I got misled by the second agency. Twice eligible, twice rejected, twice powerless. And that's when it hit me that this is where there is a gap in the entire immigration industry. So that's when it hit me. If it can happen to me, such an educated person, what will happen to such innocent people who are actually aspirants? Silently, they are being robbed for their future. And it didn't start as a business. पहले मैंने सबसे पहले QMS Academy स्टार्ट की, which is a training company, which is still on. And तभी मैं immigration help करता था free of cost to apply for visas for UK, Canada, Canada Express Entry, UK Skill Migrant Permit, और मैं free of cost करता था. But then I also learned a lesson कि आप जो भी चीज़ फ्री में करते हो उसकी लोगों की वैल्यू नहीं होती. But yes, I had 100% success on all my applications. And that is where I learned that yes, this can be a service which can be professionally done. So finally 2014 में मैंने मेरी माइग्रेंट मास्टर कंपनी बना ली and with one promise to all my clients, no scam, no shortcuts and no false dreams. And that's a promise which became a brand today called as Migrant Master. We began with student visas. Later on we explored in Express Entry, provincial nomination program like Saskatchewan, Ontario, ONP, Alberta and many other programs. बट इन 2018 हमने एक रियलाइज किया कि एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए एक बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम है एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज कैनेडा स्टार्टअप वीजा, C11 वर्क परमिट और एंटरप्रेन्योर राउट. एंड दैट इज व्हाई द जर्नी ऑफ माइग्रेंट मास्टर वेंट टू द नेक्स्ट लीप, serving more than 12,000 students till date and more than 300 families successfully in Canada and UK. We had an emotional touch with all these clients. And then we also realized no one should lose their hard-earned money that they've earned, and no one should lose their future opportunity because of someone else's mistake or careless behavior. Migrant Master was not built to sell visas, but we built to restore trust of our clients.
तो सर, स्टूडेंट वीजा से डायरेक्ट PR तक फुल माइग्रेशन फनल कैसे डिजाइन हुआ विद 1000+ यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ?
So basically, I designed the migration funnel because I had seen the dark side of this industry. Immigration should not be only for people who can spend 40-50 lakhs for US, Canada or Australia, but talent exists at every economic level. And that is what I decided कि मुझे सिर्फ अमीरों के लिए इमिग्रेशन इंडस्ट्री नहीं चलानी है, एक नॉर्मल मिडिल क्लास और लोअर मिडिल क्लास के लिए भी. I built multiple pathways for everyone. For students, affordable education in Italy, Germany, Russia, Czech Republic, Singapore, UAE, and Mauritius, and many other products where we get good scholarships and reasonable fees. For job seekers, I also found out products like Germany Opportunity Card, Malta Skill Pass, Portugal Work Permit, Spain Legalization, where it is a very reasonable cost and people can migrate very easily and look for jobs. For permanent residency, definitely it is an expensive product. So like EB5, which is in US, C11, yeah, startup visa in Canada, Portugal D1, Italy startup visa, Greece investment programs. So we had a plethora of choices for all the customers. And that's how we partnered with 1,000 plus universities and more than 100 plus lawyers in every country. By matching the right program for the right applicant and the right immigrant within the budget and the long-term goals. I would like to share a real example with you. पायल ओसरमन, ये मेरी बहुत ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट है, बट उसका एक ही प्रॉब्लम था, फाइनेंशियल बैकिंग नहीं थी. And we secured that backing for her by taking a scholarship in Russia. It took a lot of time for us, but we planned it and we got it. And after her studies, I'll ensure that she will settle down somewhere in Europe with dignity and with her mother, who is a single mother. This is not a business promise, but it's my moral responsibility. Because for Migrant Master, customer first, ethics first, and always.
डॉक्टर स्वप्निल सर, एक इमिग्रेशन कंसल्टेंट लूप होल ढूंढता है या गवर्नमेंट का गेट कीपर होता है सिर्फ?
Very interesting question. So, neither am I a loophole finder nor a government gatekeeper. I would term myself as a translator. And immigration law speaks the language of no. My job is to translate the client's real life into a lawful yes, finding an absolute legal route for them. And if they qualify, I have to place them with the right program, legally. The real problem isn't loopholes, it's a transparency gap. Two people with the same profile, same qualifications, same work experience might have a different result because one story was told badly by some immigration consultant while other was told rightly. मैं आपको एक एग्जाम्पल बताना चाहूंगा. जीशान शेख जो मेरा क्लाइंट है, मेरा स्टूडेंट है, मेरा बहुत अच्छा फैमिली फ्रेंड है. At age of 22, he has done a student visa from a very well-reputed company, which is an immigration company. But because of the SOP blunder, he got his visa rejected. Wrong program, wrong education history. He came to me. We corrected the narratives and his visa was approved in 4 days. And today he's settled in Canada. He runs his company called as Disk Designer under startup visa, which again, he went through us.
सर, हर साल 7 लाख इंडियंस देश छोड़ रहे हैं. क्या माइग्रेशन टैलेंट स्मगलिंग है या ब्रेन ड्रेन है?
So, I will not call it a brain drain. मैं उसको बोलूंगा ये global talent circulation है. We are losing Indians. We are building global economic footprint. Remittance, global exposures, and return of money in India has been a great success for India. Engineers coming back from a decade in a Silicon Valley are exactly what powered India's tech boom today. If government wants talent to stay, the answer isn't restricting them by paperwork. It has to be retention through an opportunity. इंडिया को ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी प्लेटफॉर्म डेवलप करना पड़ेगा जहां हम उनको रिटेन कर सकें. आई एम नॉट एक्सपोर्टिंग टैलेंट, आई एम फ्यूचर प्रूफिंग इट.
इतने सारे फेक प्रोमिसेस हो रहे हैं ऑलरेडी और एजेंट माफिया की तो भरमार है इमिग्रेशन इंडस्ट्री के अंदर. तो इसको कैसे प्रोटेक्ट किया जाए?
Let me say it very boldly and bluntly. Even I believe what you are asking. The dirty secret of immigration industry is immigration is one of the most scam-infected industry in the entire world. Many agents treat clients just like a guinea pig. Experiment करो, प्रोफाइल के साथ खेलो, पैसे डुबा दो, पैसे गए और कौन उनको सवाल पूछेगा? But they are playing with their futures. Even today, big immigration companies, big brands are selling dreams on the name of express entry, provincial nomination programs, LMI job offers. This is all a scam. The reality is harsh. The draw of express entry in Canada, everybody has to know, is 500 plus points. Limited categories and near zero chances for most applicants sitting in India or even Asia, unless they are from the healthcare background or hospitality background. My rule is very, very simple. Never sell hopes. Just sell the reality. No misguidance for money, no fake promises, no false commitments. I work beyond contracts. I work for commitment and giving them results. Just कल की बात है, मैं एक आपको स्टोरी बताऊंगा. मेरे पास एक क्लाइंट आया था, समीर. He came to me after losing 1.5 lakhs. उसने भी एक्सप्रेस एंट्री अप्लाई किया था एक बहुत बड़े ब्रांड से, और मुझे डेजू हुआ, मुझे याद आ गया मैंने जो 2011 में किया था. So his profile was very good, but they actually goofed up with this profile. If Canada isn't viable for a person, why do you apply for it? The world doesn't end there. There are smart legal options like Germany Opportunity Card, getting a job, and then settling down with a PR in Germany within 2 or 3 years without a language barrier. My approach as a lawyer is very simple. Understand the client's profile, find the best suit country, recommend only what is actually possible and workable for the client. And I told Samir very clearly, Canada is not possible for you, go for Germany. I don't sell products and dreams. I design better outcomes for reality, for their future.
द कैनेडियन ड्रीम बुक सिर्फ सक्सेस स्टोरी है या फेलियर का भी सच है?
The Canadian dream is not just founder's success or failure story. It's definitely not a cookbook. It's an immigration checklist. जो भी माइग्रेट करना चाहता है उसको ये पढ़ना ही चाहिए. Not because I have written it. Something every migrant should read before making a life-changing decision. This book will clearly lay down do's and do nots, pros and cons. It will explain which program actually exists, which are just not sold to you. This book will cover multiple legal pathways like student visa. I have touched based on work permits, open work permits, opportunities like Malta or Germany, PR programs in Canada, UK, US, provincial nomination programs in UK, Australia, real linked PR programs, and even Caribbean investment programs which are through donation routes. While it's written primarily around Canada, but सिर्फ ये बुक कनाडा के लिए नहीं है, मैंने सारी होलिस्टिकली सारी कंट्रीज के बारे में लिखा है. The logic applies globally for all immigration, it's the same. Even offering hope and alternative if Canada or UK is not possible is also a good dream. Most importantly, my book Dream Canada or the Canadian Dream, it exposes the scam and non-existing immigration programs and replaces confusion with clarity. It doesn't sell dreams. It doesn't sell hopes. It gives a proper direction and a roadmap for every immigrant and aspirant who wants to work or go abroad.
सर एक बात बताओ, कनाडा स्टार्टअप वीजा पॉज का मतलब सिस्टम सुधारे या हैवी इन्वेस्टमेंट के बाद फॉरेन नेशनल्स को रोकना, और 10 ईयर पीआर टाइमलाइन सच है या डर है?
So first, let's kill the grapevine. The Canada startup visa is not stopped. It's paused. This pause is actually a strategic move by IRCC to clear the massive backlog of 40,000 plus applications. अगर आप क्लाइंट पर्सपेक्टिव से उसे देखोगे तो यस इट हर्ट्स, क्योंकि अभी नए एप्लीकेशंस आ ही नहीं सकते, कोई स्टार्टअप वीजा के लिए अप्लाई नहीं कर सकता. बट अगर आप एग्जिस्टिंग एप्लीकेंट्स देखते हो तो दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी गुड न्यूज. Now, because the work permit timelines have absolutely plummeted down to 9 weeks, and the PR processing time will much move faster because no new files are there in the queue, and that's why it will happen much easier. The so-called 10-year PR timeline, which is just a myth or a YouTube video hype by few bloggers and YouTubers, it's a backward-looking estimate, not a fixture reality. With a pause in place, timelines will compress, not expand, क्योंकि नई फाइल्स अब आएगी ही नहीं. For my clients, risk is mitigated by real, genuine businesses, clearly demonstrating economic, social and cultural impact in Canada. हम हर फाइल को इक्वली देखते हैं, इक्वल इंपॉर्टेंस देते हैं. अगर आपका बिजनेस जेन्युइन है, कोई पॉलिसी, कोई उसको ब्रेक नहीं कर सकता. They will protect you but not break you. This isn't about blocking talent. It's about fixing the pipeline before reopening a new pipeline.
अच्छा सर, स्टार्टअप वीजा और C11 वर्क परमिट में सक्सेस कैसे मेंटेन करते हैं? कोई रियल केस एग्जांपल बता पाएंगे?
Success in Canada startup visa and C11 work permits come down to just one word, and that is genuineness of the business. Every project we take on is a real revenue-focused business, not just a paperwork. Every founder has to be genuine. We don't just file application, we build companies. If the founder lacks experience, we handhold for first year, managing operations, accounting, HST, income tax, compliance, guiding sales, digital marketing to generate real revenues. We also align businesses for VC funding and future investments. Most importantly, we protect each and every file by giving a quarterly progress report, compliance report, technical readiness report to the IRCC so that IRCC can see the momentum, not stagnation in the project. A real case which I would like to share. A C11 client with zero Canada business experience today runs a tax compliant revenue generating company, and the work permit was approved because the business spoke for itself. Immigration succeeds only and only when the business succeeds. Some real cases that I would like to share with you. Pillpod, which is the company which I have worked with, they have successfully implemented pod-based pharmacy model in Canada. Dish Designer, a customized food tiffin platform founded by Jishan, a 22 years old, had a work permit approval in 1.5 months. Empire Furniture, founded by Monica Mistry, a customized furniture brand, had her work permit in just 3 months. Mailmooth, which was founded by Jasmine Daruwala, an innovative founder with a mailing service solution, had her work permit in just 3 months. Co-founder Athar Ahmed received his work permit in only 1.5 months. Beyond this, we have successfully implemented 150 plus projects across Canada under the Canada Startup Visa and C11. When the business is real, all the approvals will follow it.
कनाडा C11 या प्रोविजनल इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोग्राम में एंटरप्रेन्योर वर्क परमिट और पीआर के लिए मिनिमम इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना चाहिए सर?
Under Canada C11 and provincial entrepreneurship or investment programs, the minimum practical investment starts from around 150,000 Canadian dollar. Now, why 150,000 Canadian dollar? क्योंकि ये बिल्कुल प्रैक्टिकल सोच है. अगर आप कोई कॉफी शॉप, कोई रेस्टोरेंट, कोई गैराज या कोई क्लीनिंग सेंटर ले रहे हो और उसका रेवेन्यू उससे नीचे है, तो डेफिनेटली वो बिजनेस प्रॉफिट में ही नहीं आएगा, ना वो उसका आपका सैलरी निकाल पाएगा, ना आपका वर्क एक्सपेंस दिखा पाएगा, which means this will not generate your permanent residency. With this investment of 150,000 Canadian dollars, any entrepreneur typically acquires a revenue generating business such as a coffee shop, a restaurant, a fast food outlet, a car wash, an auto repair center, a salon, a beauty parlor, retail or service business. The roadmap is absolutely straightforward. Identify and evaluate a genuine profit-making business, and that's why we are here. Verify the valuation, financial, tax history, and transaction authenticity. We do that through our CPAs with T1 forms. Complete the buyer-seller transaction, pay the seller, and then finally, once the payment is done, apply for a C11 or your entrepreneur work permit. Run the business for at least 12 to 24 months. Generate revenue, maintain tax compliance, apply for PR after an experience of 1 to 2 years of your business experience within that province. There are PR pathways, but they depend on where the business is operating, like Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, rural programs, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Quebec. The key condition for the business remains the same. It has to be real, genuine, profitable. It has to at least take out one salary. My responsibility as a lawyer, as a consultant, is to protect the client, ensure the compliance, build the business that IRCC can trust is real. In short, real business, real investment, real compliance, real PR pathway.
अगर लेटर ऑफ सपोर्ट 19 दिसंबर 2025 से पहले मिला है तो क्या एप्लीकेंट को चिंता करनी चाहिए?
The key to the success in any immigration program is to remain calm, patient, and optimistic. Nothing to worry. If your letter of support is issued for Canada Startup Visa before 19 December 2025, if your letter of support is dated before this cutoff, you can still apply for your permanent residency till 30th of June 2026. You are also eligible to apply for a close work permit if your letter of support was issued before 19 December 2025. There is a lot of misinformation in the market. The Canada Startup Visa is paused and not stopped. This is just a YouTube video hype or Insta video hype by few bloggers making a clear confusion in the market. Existing applications should focus on continue working on the startups, generate real businesses and revenue for your projects. Seek VC funding wherever possible. Strengthen the business through digital marketing, traction, webinars, approach clients, and do not focus on such rumors or hoax. Our role is to help the founders and co-founders build, fund, and grow their startups so that IRCC sees the genuineness, the genuine intent, and the progress in the business. Ignore the rumors, just stay away. Stay compliant, build your business. That is what you can do the best. Your startup visa dream is still much, much, much alive.
अच्छा अभी एआई आ गया है तो एआई स्क्रीनिंग से क्या फ्यूचर में एल्गोरिदम ही इमिग्रेशन डिसीजन लेगा और वो बस क्लाइंट के लिए अच्छा है या रिस्की है फिर?
We are already in that future of AI. Immigration screening is increasingly going ahead with AI driven and black box effect is real. If an algorithm flags a pattern it doesn't like a file can be refused and generic reasoning like minimum human review. Countries like United States are using Atlas or FDNS system. United Kingdom is using IPIC and Atlas system. The European Union is using ETAS and Canada is using Chinook. They are already using these AI softwares for screening, risk scoring, and fraud detection. AI isn't all bad. It's excellent at catching fraud and cutting processing time from days to minutes. And that is why now we have seen that the work permit timeline has come down to 9 weeks, and I'm 100% sure the PR files will come down from 10 years to 4 years and then 1 year. But AI lacks human judgment, a human emotion. It can't read intents, efforts, or context, especially in a complete complex scenario like startup visa or C11 or entrepreneur files. Immigration isn't true or false. The future should be AI assisted and not AI decided. I would like to narrate a real life story. One of my clients called me that his rejection was absolutely absurd. It said that one of the founder had not received the work permit and that's why the co-founder is rejected, while the other co-founder already has got a work permit. It was a simple blanket rejection because of Chinook. And that is why I identify that AI softwares are not 100% perfect. As a consultant, it is our job to frame it rightly for the AI software so that they don't give red flags.
गोल्डन वीजा और अर्न सेटलमेंट के चलते क्या इमिग्रेशन सिर्फ अमीरों की लग्जरी बन रहा है?
It's a hard truth. Is it fair for an applicant side? No. For millions of skilled people, talent alone is no longer enough. Money has become the gatekeeper. But from a country's perspective, it's economics, not emotions. Government are not charities, they are running economies. Countries like United States prioritize investor routes where capital ranges from US dollars 800,000 to 10 million. The money isn't parked, it's deployed for creating jobs, infrastructure, businesses, and tax revenue, directly boosting the GDP. When you migrate through these programs like EB5, you are not buying residency, you are joining the economic engine. So yes, immigration is getting expensive, but for government, it's not a luxury product. It's an economic growth strategy.
अच्छा ये बताओ सर कि कौन कौन सी कंट्री सिटीजनशिप बाय इन्वेस्टमेंट या गोल्डन वीजा ऑफर करते हैं?
Citizenship or residency by investment, which is also called as CBI or Golden Visa, is offered mainly across Schengen countries and Caribbean islands. The Schengen or the European Unions or the European countries have investment route. Like Germany has an 800,000 euros of investment route. Portugal has around $1 million of investment route by buying a house in Portugal. Italy is around 1 million by buying a real estate property. Spain is $500,000 in real estate property. And one of my favorite, that is Greece, which is 250, and Latvia, which is 250. Caribbean citizenship by investment. Countries offer direct citizenship by real estate investment, government donation, bonds, proper destinations or island nations in the Caribbean with faster processing and visa-free travel. And also, last but not the least, why is Greece my favorite location? It has low entry point in Schengen with just 250,000 euros of investment in real estate. Strong real estate demand, especially in the Athens. Better price appreciation compared to the many other European markets. Recently, Greece has reduced the requirement. पहले यही requirement 800,000 euros था, which is approximately 8 crores. Now it is 2.5 crores. but it is for refurbished or converted apartments or properties. Also, why is citizenship by investment such a safe option? You have a physical asset. आपका खुद का घर है. You get your own PR within 3 to 6 months. आपका 5 years का लॉकिंग पीरियड है. उसके बाद आपकी प्रॉपर्टी सेल कीजिए, but still you will have a renewal of your permanent residency or citizenship benefits. In short, citizenship by investment isn't a migration. It's a wealth preservation with global mobility.
अच्छा, EB5 वीजा में स्कैम से इन्वेस्टर्स को बचाने के लिए आपकी कोई नॉन निगोशिएबल चेकलिस्ट है क्या?
So yes, EB5 is a very well demand product, mostly in India, for investors who are looking for quick settlement in US. And the fear is absolutely valid because of the huge investment. EB5 is one of the most mis-solid immigration product globally. Protection comes down to due diligence, not just marketing brochures. My EB5 scrutiny checklist is as below. The US CIS approved regional centers with a clean approved history. I-526, I-829 with a track record, not just promises, but real and actual data. Job creations, at least 10 jobs each applicant. Capital stack transparency. Who's investing, who's lending, who's at risk. I see the complete balance sheet of the project. Escrow protection. Funds released only after the key US CIS milestones. Exit strategy clarity. How and when the capital can be realistically returned. Third-party audits and independent economy reports. Developer credibility, which is very, very important. Past projects completed, not just proposed, within the timeline, within the budget. Risk mitigation separated by immigration risk separated from business risk as much as possible. I don't sell EB5 as an immigration. I treat it as a regulated private equity with immigration benefits. If a project cannot protect capital first, I don't care how good the project is. I don't care about the PR promises. It's simply rejected from my list. In EB5, capital safety comes before the green cards.
अच्छा, ये आंसर तो समझ में आ गया. EB5 में आप किस टाइप के प्रोजेक्ट चुनते हैं ताकि मनी और ग्रीन कार्ड दोनों सेफ रहे?
In United States, EB5 space is very critical. I work only with proven, low-risk projects like hospitals, which are big brands, five-star hotels like Hilton, and large condominium projects, which are for mixed-use development in US. Each EB5 investment of minimum $800,000 is structured to create mandatory 10 full-time jobs. 100% approval track records on the EB5 we have handled in these projects. Track record is absolutely non-negotiable. I only select promoters who have successfully completed their projects within first time and within time. The promoter must have clean balance sheets, no heavy debts, no bankruptcy, no history of financial stress. I avoid over-leveraged projects. Capital protection comes first. Immigration is a byproduct. EB5 will succeed only when you treat it like a serious private equity investment and not a shortcut for a green card.
अच्छा, कोई बंदा अभी कनाडा पहुंच गया है यहाँ से, तो पोस्ट लैंडिंग आप क्लाइंट की कैसे एक्चुअल हेल्प करते हैं?
Post-landing support is very critical in immigration business. This is where the real success or failure happens. We guide client from airport to accommodation, where to land, how to travel locally, and how to avoid overpriced taxis and scams. Help with finding affordable flights, accommodations, both short-term as well as long-term. Job readiness support, CV formatting in European or Canadian styles or US style resumes. Guidance on job portals, how to create, how to apply for interviews, and networking with the local clients, connecting them with my existing clients in that country. Settlement essentials, something like bank account, SIN or tax numbers, health card, mobile plans, school admission for the children, emotional and community support is also very important. Connecting with students or immigrants who are already in that country, who belong to us as our previous clients. Connecting with PR families which have settled as our migrant families in the past. This reduces homesickness and cultural shock for the new migrants. Ongoing handholding is not just arrival help. Local guidance, survival tips, real-life problems, and problem solutions. Supporting for school findings, guidance on local travels, do's and do nots in that country. Immigration does not end with visa approval. It in fact starts there. Its success is only when the client settles with confidence.
सर कोई ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव क्लाइंट की स्टोरी शेयर कर दो, स्टूडेंट से ग्लोबल करियर तक.
Yes, there are many, but few stories I would definitely narrate here. The first student, तेजस्वी, जो मुंबई से है और उसका फाइनेंशियल बैकिंग इतना अच्छा नहीं था. We arranged her education loan. And now she is in Vancouver. She has moved there with a part-time job just in 1 month as soon as she landed. उसकी स्टडीज अभी कंप्लीट हो चुकी है. She has applied for a post-study work permit. सेकेंड स्टोरी, स्टेफन, हु इज ऑल्सो फ्रॉम मुंबई. वो भी अभी वैंकूवर में है. उसने यूसीडब्ल्यू से अपना मास्टर्स किया. He landed with a finance role as soon as he completed his post-graduation. He is now a professional who is settled in Canada. Also, Forum Shah, जो मेरी client थी 2018 की, she came to me with a lot of rejections. 3 rejections from previous companies, previous immigration agents. At the age of 38, she was very determined to go on a study permit to make her career. Forum has completed her studies in Manitoba, secured a post-study work permit, also a job in the post-study work permit, already filed for a PR application with her family. Another powerful story, that is Sai Suraj Rajesh. After 4 failure attempts of student visa, express entry, provincial nomination, where he was been misguided by previous agents. Today, he is settled in Alberta. After his completion of studies, he is in post-study work permit, already got a good job and on the way to his PR. These are not just visas. These are lives rebuilt right from doubt to dignity, from student to global career.
अच्छा, मैं बात कर रहा था, नहीं, अच्छा, मैं पढ़ रहा था टैक्स टूरिस्ट के बारे में. तो डिजिटल नोमैड्स वीज़ा लोकल्स इकोनॉमी को हेल्प करते हैं या हाउसिंग प्राइस बढ़ाने वाले टैक्स टूरिस्ट है सर?
It's a double-edged sword. Digital nomads bring fast, high-velocity spending, but without proper housing and tax planning, they can just turn into gentrifiers in the suitcase. The real issue isn't nomad. It's a government's inviting talent without a long-term integration plan. Today, many countries actively offer digital nomad visas, including Portugal, Spain, Estonia, Croatia, Greece, Dubai, Thailand. All these applicants is a game changer. Earn in one country, live in another country, enjoy the better lifestyle in one country. Safety, healthcare, and cost advantage. From the country's perspective, it's smart economics. Digital nomads pay taxes, rents, and buy houses. Spend locally, invest in your economy, inject capital, all without competing your local jobs for your local people. You can't invite global talent and then complain when they actually show up. मैं एक अच्छी स्टोरी आपको बताता हूँ of one of my client Ahmed, who is now in Portugal. He has a remote job. वो एक इंडियन मल्टीनेशनल में जॉब करता है और उसकी अर्निंग अप्रोक्सीमेटली 3,500 यूरोस है, विच इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली 3.5 lakhs इन इंडिया. और अभी वो पोर्चुगल में है. ही इज एंजॉइंग द कल्चर देयर, द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड द यूरोपियन लाइफस्टाइल. हिज वाइफ वर्क्स लोकली इन पोर्चुगल. उसका एक लोकल जॉब है वेयर शी इज अर्निंग 2,000 यूरोज अ मंथ. उनके बच्चे फ्री एजुकेशन का बेनिफिट ले रहे हैं पोर्चुगल में. चाइल्ड अलाउंस मिल रहा है. As a family, they spend approximately 2,000 euros in Portugal because Portugal is a low-cost economy country where you can spend less and enjoy the best of the European world. Money that goes straight into the local economy of Portugal, that's not tax tourism. That's cross-border value creation.
अच्छा, आप सच सच बताओ सर कि आप कैसे वेरीफाई करते हो कि ऑफर्ड माइग्रेशन प्रोग्राम जेन्युइन है?
My thumb rule is simple and non-negotiable. Clients are not guinea pigs. This is their life for hard-earned money and not an experiment. Student visas. Whenever I recommend any student, मैं personally उस country में जाता हूँ, उस university को जाके देखता हूँ, मैं उसके coordinators को मिलता हूँ, I walk through the campus, faculties को मिलता हूँ, staff के साथ interaction करता हूँ, I study the curriculum, I see the eligibility of the program, I see what is the outcome my student is going to get. उनका एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी फैक्टर क्या है, वो जॉब प्रोवाइड कर पा रहे कि नहीं, जो कोर्स वो करने जा रहे हैं वो एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी फैक्टर है कि नहीं. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट पीआर एंड वर्क परमिट्स. आई डू अ डीप रिसर्च, पॉलिसी एनालिसिस, एआई टूल्स, लीगल फोरम्स, पेड लॉयर कंसल्टेशंस टू फुल्ली अंडरस्टैंड द प्रोग्राम. Whether the program has any risk or not, are there any loopholes, and what are the success pathways for my migrants. Investment and citizenship by investment program. I go on the ground. study the ground reality, see the real estate market, what is the rental, what is the market price for the property, meet the locals, talk to them, analyze the rental yields for my investors, property prices, and future appreciation of that property. And then and only then I advise this to my client. Let's talk about job seeker or open work permits like Germany Opportunity Card or Malta Skill Pass. I test the reality, meet the employers personally, understand hiring demands, connect with the recruiters, and only recommend if the job already exists in that market. Every program I offer is something I would recommend to my own family. Immigration is not about selling, it's not a sales, it's about protecting the future of my clients through research, honesty, and responsibility. Just to give an example, like when talking about citizenship by investment, I personally visited every country in Europe who offers citizenship by investment, like Portugal, Italy, Greece, Latvia, and then I recommend options to my client and what is my favorite, what are the pros and cons of each country over other. Because every person has a different requirement. Somebody wants a fast PR, somebody wants a less stay back, somebody wants quick citizenship, somebody is okay with quick citizenship, but at the same time, they want good rental yield. So for every customer, every country is different.
पूरी दुनिया की एक ही विडंबना है सर कि हर बंदा जॉब ढूंढ रहा है। तो मेरे को आज की तारीख में बताओ कि यूरोप में इस समय कौन कौन से जॉब मार्केट बूम कर रहे हैं सर?
The most talked about and booming job market in Europe right now is Germany. Why? Massive job demands, strong infrastructure, welcoming culture, a stable economy, excellent banking, hospitality and tourism, and very safe environment for migrants. Many people see language as a barrier in Germany. I see it as an opportunity. Language skills increases your employability and integrates you for a long-term growth within that country. Another strong market is Malta, English-speaking country, good salaries, fast-growing economy, and also cost of living is absolutely minimal. Luxembourg stands out of higher salaries, strong financial and corporate jobs. Switzerland offers highest salaries in the Schengen zone. Through the job market is smaller and more selective. The key point is there is no single best country. Every industry, every segment, every category of job has different country for it. Immigration is not a ready-made shirt. It's a tailor-made shirt. Based on the client's skills, experience, budget, family goals, I will identify and recommend a best suit country for my client. The best fit market, the best fit pathway so that they don't just migrate, they settle down successfully. Like, अगर मेरा कोई हॉस्पिटैलिटी का क्लाइंट है, मैं उसको बोलूंगा आप माल्टा जाइए, जर्मनी जाइए. If it is in healthcare sector, I would recommend Germany. If it is financial sector, I would again recommend Germany, or Europe में we have UK or many other options. So every country has a speciality. So based on the speciality, I recommend my clients which country to approach for jobs.
वैसे सर 2025 के बाद जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के बाद बर्थ प्लेस या ब्लड लाइन के आधार पर पाकिस्तान ओरिजिन लोगों पर बैन लगाना क्या एथिकल है?
राजनीति का पाप, जनता का दंड. So ethics and national security often collide. What we are seeing today isn't always a formal ban. It's administrative over-scrutiny, where nationality triggers extremely filtering instead of individual assessment. That said, punishing people for bloodline or place of birth is ethically wrong. Geopolitical decisions don't enhance security. They place an entire population under suspicion. Migrants of Pakistani origin are at zero fault, yet they pay the price for political decisions made by the country. I strongly condemn the policy decisions made by the Pakistan government that ends up hurting civilians. Security should never be symbolic or reactionary. Professionally, my role as a lawyer is practical and not political. I have worked with Pakistani nationals neutrally through partners in Canada and UK, focusing on the legal, dignified alternative and right, like Portugal PR routes, Greece investment routes, or Caribbean programs. Security should be based on individual records, not inherited identities biased.
अच्छा, एथिक्स की बात करते हैं सर, तो फेल्ड स्टेट की वजह से बांग्लादेशी एप्लीकेंट को पीसीसी जैसे डॉक्यूमेंट पर ब्लॉक लगाना क्या एथिकल है?
This is a sad story, but this is a classic case of system failure punishing ordinary citizens. Applicants are not criminals. They are victim of the administrative collapse in Bangladesh. I sympathize with them. My solution is simple and legal. Redirect, not reject. Countries like Portugal offer viable pathways for Bangladeshi nationals through D1, D2, D7 visas, even when documentation frameworks differ. I personally worked closely with Bangladeshi clients to structure compliant application through these routes. Spain offers them legalization process. Canada has offered them lawful options like C11 work permits and previously through startup visa programs. Migration policy should adapt to reality. When system fails, give solutions, not blanket exclusions. Define ethical governance.
Thank you so much, sir.